So what is a casual vacancy? When someone is elected onto the town council, they serve for 4 years or until they leave. Now, the reasons for leaving are varied. Can be as extreme as a councillor passing away, for example. But in most cases, it's because the person who's elected to the position finds that there is conflict with their personal or work lives. And it's just not compatible anymore to them to remain on the town council. It's worth bearing in mind that all of the people who sit on the town council do so in a voluntary basis. We're not remunerated, there's no funds coming our way for this. In fact, we're strictly prohibited from making any personal benefit. So much so that one of the councillors actually has lost work working for the town council, so as to show that, be ultra clear that there's no conflict of interest in that regard. When these absences happen, that is known as a casual vacancy. And that needs to be rectified, and can be rectified in one of two ways. Firstly, by election, which most people will be fairly familiar with, or by co-option. What is the difference between an election and a co-option? An election, most people will probably be familiar with. There's a list of names, you're notified, you go in, or post or vote, and you select which of the people on the list you would like to see represent you. Co-option is different. Co-option, the electorate put that decision into the hands of the sitting councillors. Those that wish to stand make a presentation to the council, and the councillors then vote as to which person should take the role. For a by-election, which is what we're looking at here, to fill the casual vacancy, there needs to be seen to be sufficient demand for an election. Now, why is that? Put simply, an election is not cheap. Looking at the costings, depending on certain variables, you could be looking at somewhere between £18,000 and £19,000 for the by-election. And there has to be seen to be demand to spend that kind of money. And there's a set process for this. When the notice of casual vacancy is displayed, there is a period of time within which members of the electorate can indicate that they want an election. And if enough people do that, then there's an election. It's that simple. And the threshold is actually really rather low. All you need are 10 people who are eligible to request that there's an election, and you have an election. And the cost doesn't matter. That's what's happening, because that is democracy in action. However, if you can't get 10 people to ask for an election, then the common sense allocation of this, or application of this, is that there isn't a demand. You shouldn't be spending that kind of money for an election that isn't desired. Hence, you go to co-option. In this instance, we know that we have had sufficient demand, that there is desire for an election, and that's what we are going to be seeing. In my next videos, I'm going to be looking at what being a councillor means, what are the responsibilities, why you'd want to do it. As I said before, it's an unpaid role. So why would you want to do what we do? And then I'm going to move on to the actual nomination process itself, what you need to do, when you need to do it by, and give some tips that we found out last May of ways that can help you to run in an election. It's not as scary as you think it might be. Take care. Bye.